Hey everyone, what's up? I am back with another movie review. I think this is episode 6. Yeah, episode 6 of the season 2 of movie reviews. Yep. Just like from last week, I am going to continue the review thing of 20 through 11. That's basically what my plan is for Disney movies. Because last time I did it was from Moana to Frozen to The Jungle Book. And this is 17 of the countdown. And number 17 is The Incredibles. Haha. I'm actually pretty excited to do this one because The Incredibles is one of my favorite movies growing up as a child that is Pixar and Disney. In fact, some of these movies that I grew up like Toy Story, Monsters, Inc., and what else? Oh yeah, Cars were the perfect ones. And I thought like Incredibles was the same thing too. So I decided to do a movie review on The Incredibles. Yep, so this is number 17 on this list for 20 through 11, just in case if you didn't know. But, yeah, this is The Incredibles. I really enjoy this one because it's about a family of superheroes that are kind of in hiding. I'll explain what that means. But before this video starts... Now, if you're an Incredibles fan, which I am, go ahead, check it out and see it, or you can just watch it through. It's kind of hard because I'm sure that there have been a lot of children and some few adults who watched The Incredibles, and don't forget, I'm one of them. But don't forget, if you haven't seen it, go ahead and check it out. And also, of course, if you want, you can do The Incredibles 2, which I enjoyed the most. But I'm not doing Incredibles 2. But if I start out with this movie review thing on 2018, The Incredibles 2 would be the first choice. And this would be season 3 instead of season 2. I know it's kind of crazy, but yeah. I didn't start doing movie reviews until 2019. But yeah. Okay. Let's continue off. So, the movie kind of started with an interview with these things, but I do have them, but I'm not really going to use them a lot. Maybe a little bit from my top 10 countdowns, but let's continue back to the video. So, they were interviewing Mr. Incredible, Elastigirl, and Frozone if they have secret identities. Mr. Incredible says everyone has a secret identity. Elastigirl says that who would see their costume at the public. And here's a tip on Frozone. Super ladies always want to try your secret identity. They can look straight in your eye. That is kind of silly of Frozone because I will explain why, but yeah. Also, of course, Mr. Incredibles also said that he kind of wishes that he can just relax a little bit and raise a family. But all Elastigirl wants to do is try to get up in the big game and become one of those top dogs. And leave the saving to the men. Oh wait a minute, I'm a boy. But yeah, that's what's happening. And then, the interview was off, and there were burglars running away from the police. And who would save the day? Mr. Incredible, of course. But Bob Parr was trying off to some kind of special thing that he's going, but he got a little bit of time and managed to change out to his superhero identity, Mr. Incredible. He was off to chase them, but had to stop by to rescue a cat from a tree, which also, of course, he used the same tree to stop the burglars from the car, and they were thankful they were fine. But there was a tour bus robbery, and luckily enough, Mr. Incredible was about to get them. Unfortunately, his huge fan, Buddy Pine, was in the car. He thinks he would be able enough to be a sidekick and try to be able to fend for himself, but sadly, Mr. Incredible booted him out because all Mr. Incredible wants to do is to work alone. So he just kicked him out and just ran out to find the burglar. Yeah. Well, meanwhile, Mr. Incredible found the guy who was part of the tour bus robbery, but he was trying to knock him down, but suddenly a sucker punch managed to knock him down. Who would it be? Well, if I'm guessing correct, I would say it would be Elastigirl. I thought it was kind of like a romantic flirting thing, and I thought like, whoa. I remember the first time watching The Incredibles, so yeah, but don't forget, every time I watch a movie, I kind of always like watch it the first time, but yeah. They were kind of like a flirty moment, and Elastigirl was hoping that he would work together, but he'd rather work alone. So she just walked off because she already has a previous engagement. Woo! Man, he got one tough cookie, if you know what I mean, right? But anyway, well, he was off. There was a man on top of a 500-story foot building. Mr. Incredible was surprised of what was happening until that day the man jumped off the building and was about to fall off. Luckily enough, Mr. Incredible man came in and saved the day like all heroes do. And meanwhile, in that building that Mr. Incredible crashed with that man, he noticed that the villain, Bon Voyage, was in there. They were going to have an epic clash off, but Incrediboy followed them. Mr. Incredible was kind of annoyed and wanted him to go home. But Buddy wanted to prove to him that he can do it by trying to get the police, but there was a bomb on the cape. That's what happens if you have a bomb in the cape. You know what I mean, right, Super Dork? But he managed to rip off the bomb off of his cape, but the bomb exploded. Luckily enough, Mr. Incredible came in and stopped the train. It was a close call. Luckily enough, he asked the police to take him back safely, but he was running out of time. He was super late for one thing. They were getting married. Sorry about that, but I don't really have the picture for this, but the one who was married, that Mr. Incredible or Bob Parr was getting married was Elastigirl or Helen something. You know how marriage things work. I don't really know. Sorry. After they got married, this just in. There was a superhero who got sued. Because what happened was the citizen that Mr. Incredible saved didn't want to be saved. He was trying to admit the ding 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 ding. Sorry, I don't really like to say that word. This is a family channel. But 5 days later, another suit has happened. After the train incident that cost him millions and millions of dollars. That's for enough, creating a superhero safety reunion, making superheroes illegal. Now they'll have to live out like normal men. Do you think what happened to Mr. Incredible? Well, 15 years later, the new life for Mr. Incredible was hard. Or Bob. Sorry, I don't want to do that thing, but yeah. Mr. Incredible was having a hard time because he missed the days of kicking butt. Well, meanwhile, Helen was off for picking up the kids. She started off with Dash, who was sent to the office because he was caught by putting a thumbtack on his teacher's stool. That one was pretty interesting because Dash had speed and he used that speed to pull that prank. Well, meanwhile, Violet was waiting for school, but she managed to saw her crush, Tony Reininger, but luckily enough, he didn't see her because she used her invisible ability. Luckily enough, they were managed to be brought back home. Meanwhile, Miss Bob was going back home, but still having a hard time. He still misses his old car because the new car he got was kind of old. It was difficult because there was a skateboard that he almost stepped in and he accidentally crushed the thing thanks to his super strength. It was pretty interesting though. And meanwhile, it was dinner time. Everyone talked about how their date was except for Violet because she was a little bit bummed out. Thanks to Dash, he was being a little bit mean to Violet and they got into a fight. I mean, literally. I mean, seriously, they were fighting. Helen was trying to stop the fight and Bob was trying to intervene. But luckily enough, Lucius, aka Frozo, managed to came in. They thought they were expecting company, but at least Lucius managed to came in. Bob decided to take his coat, was about to take Lucius out to go bowling. It's kind of like their tradition to go bowling every Wednesday night. Well, meanwhile, everything was doing fine except Violet kind of snapped out at Helen for being normal because all she wanted to do was to be normal. Well, the family is not normal. They're all supers except for Jack Jack. I won't go any too far, but I might say what will happen next. Okay. Well, meanwhile, were Lucius and Bob going bowling? Nope. They were sneaking out listen to police scanners. Even though they not look like superheroes, but they have to do one thing, protect the society. But all Lucius wants to do is do what they actually do to make them not get caught. But he knows what happened to Gazerbeam. Well, not really though. He's heard what happened to Gazerbeam, the superhero that had the rights to making superheroes illegal. That's why I think that has disappeared. But meanwhile, they're saving people from the fire. They just heard that there was fire. Luckily enough, they managed to escape, but there was one problem. They accidentally ran into a jewelry store. Thanks to their disguises, they look like bad guys. Incompetent bad guys. One of the police members were trying to shoot them down, but luckily enough, Lucius managed to get a drink of water and then freeze. They managed to escape. It was a good thing. But Bob has his own problems. When he got back, Helen caught him. It's kind of a hard thing because she kind of knows that Bob is listening to the police scanner and thinks that living the glory days is a bad thing because all Bob wants is to be a superhero again, but now Helen wants to do is to support her kids. It was kind of like a loud conversation. No, an argument. So loud that the kids were awake and managed to stop it in time. Well, they didn't really. It's just they were trying to hear what happened. But it all worked out, right? Then tomorrow, while Bob was doing a kind of work, the boss wanted to see him because of the things that Bob was doing. He wasn't very happy at least, but Once he was doing that thing, Bob was saw what was going on, that there was a man out there that was getting mugged. He tried to walk off, but the boss stopped him. And what happened then? He got so mad that he strangled his boss and threw him. Uh-oh, what happened? It was kind of like a catastrophe of what happened to his boss. But luckily enough, Rick, one of the agents of the safety thing, he managed to erase some few memories and erase his memories. But after that catastrophe, Bob got fired. Because all he wants to do is relive the glory days, but Rick said the glory days are over and he has to face facts. Bob was a little bit upset, but Rick offered him to relocate him again, but Bob said they just moved in. That's what happened. So when he went back home, he went to his office where he had his everything from fan mail to magazines to the things he'd done. And he was upset that he ripped everything apart from his old job and threw them away, except he felt something and he checked it, the garbage, and he found out it was a message from Mirage. Some woman that gave this message because she had a mission for him. And what did Mr. Incredible do? He accepted. Well, before that, he would have to come up with a lie that he has a conference that he will be out for days. At least that kind of tricked off Helen. Meanwhile, during his conference, Mirage told him what happened, and all Mr. Incredible had to do is go in there and it's showtime. He raced down the entire island just to try to find that machine, and he did. It was a tough battle, and Mr. Incredible tried his best, but he got so fat that it was hard for him. And meanwhile, in the volcano that he was in, Mr. Incredible managed to finish it off by stabbing it a bunch of times like a flea and just ripped off his heart. It was kind of like, whoa. I was impressed by it. Really cool. Yeah. And then someone in the shadows was watching that thing, and he was asked to not that. He asked Mirage to invite him for dinner, and she did. They had a little talk of the owner, of why he can't reveal his face because he's a little bit busy, but she said he was attracted to power, and everything from the dinner table was made from the lava. That's pretty cool. And about 3 days ago, he returned home. And thanks to that kiss that he was everything that he can do. For example, he got along with his daughter Violet, his son Dash, even of course, he did a little bonding with baby Jack Jack. But he is still fat, and he decided one thing to do. He decided to start training. It was a difficult choice, but Mr. Incredible managed to lose some weight and got his normal body back. Well, meanwhile, I almost shot, but the camera almost got my face. But I don't want to talk about that. But his suit was cut off a little bit. But all he had to do is get a patch up from Edna Mode, the one that made the suits, and also of course voiced by the director. I forgot his name, Brad Bird. But Edna also, of course, offered Bob to make a new suit for him, and he agreed. He wants something classy and something heroic, like one of those guys with capes, but no capes. That was a funny quote from Edna, because it also makes kind of sense of why some superheroes don't need capes, like Superman, Batman, or store. Here's the reason why. Some superheroes are pretty cool with capes, but here's one problem. If your cape is kind of stuck on something, they get pulled out like, thank you very much. Oh snap. That's what happened to some superheroes with some capes, like for example, jet turbine, elevator, sewer line, vortex. That's why Edna suggested no capes. That's a good thing. But meanwhile, when Bob got back, what happened? Oh yeah, Helen noticed something, that Bob just got a new phone call, and luckily enough, he got another conference thanks to another lie. But was Bob really trying to go off to another conference? Nope. He had another superhero mission. Luckily enough, he got his new suit, which is big, nice and better than the old one, thanks to Edna and Mode. And he was appointed with his new mission. Helen was getting suspicious because she noticed that there was a patch job on Mr. Incredible's old suit, and she got super suspicious that she called Edna Mode, but Edna was like, marvelous, darling, it's so marvelous. And she invited her to see the other surprises that she got for the family, or at least what they think. Okay, meanwhile, Mr. Incredible was going to the same place where he was assigned to go off, but he was attacked by the same robot from the last mission, but it was being controlled by Syndrome, or also known as Buddy Pine. Turns out he was furious at Mr. Incredible for leaving him out. All he just wanted to do is just help him, but he just said, fly home. I work alone. So, thanks to that, he decided to try and get even with him. Luckily enough, he managed to escape from Syndrome. Syndrome thinks that he was dead, or at least he thinks he was. Then Edna showed Helen the suits. She was a bit surprised at what they can do, like they're fireproof, they're bulletproof, and machine washable. She also showed Helen Dash's suit that can keep up with his speed, the same fabric that can disappear for Violet in the new suit, but Helen was surprised because she and Bob were retired, but also, of course, wondering where Bob is. Meanwhile, in the same island, Mr. Incredible saw what happened. He snuck into the base and found out about Project Kronos, that it was a catastrophe of what happened to the other superheroes, including the disappeared superhero Gazer Beam, is that it was all thanks to Syndrome, because he was the one who killed him with all those deadly Omnidroids. And what Project Kronos was, is that he was going to launch a rocket to the robot and destroy the city, and maybe look for Frozone because he found a location. Mr. Incredible tried to run away, but thanks to Helen and the tracking device that Edna put in each suit, they caught him. He tried to run away from these black balls that foamed up around him, that he was trying to escape, but too late. He was captured. Helen was depressed at what happened, but Edna snapped and get herself together and tried to remember who she really is. So Helen packed up the suits and some of her stuff. Dash was wondering where those cool suits went and just took one. So Helen just gave the suits away. So that way the kids won't get involved. Then luckily enough, she set off to find the husband that he was captured at. So he managed to leave Violet and Dash left behind, but she wanted to put on this suit, but it was too much, but she did it anyway. Well, meanwhile, I don't even know why I'm doing this. It's around 6:20ish, and I'm just getting hungry. But while Elastigirl was changing, Syndrome was impressed of how Mr. Incredible was sneaking in for answers. But Syndrome was also asking, who did he contact? He didn't know about it until he heard the message. It was Helen. So Syndrome decided to send him a little greeting. And after Helen was changed to Elastigirl's new suit, she just realized something. Violet and Dash stowed away, but Jack that day came along. Since he's a normal, he's being watched by a babysitter. But the rockets that Syndrome attacked, they were buddy spiked, and the rocket exploded. Not rocket, jet. But luckily enough, they survived the attack and went to the same island from the guys who tried to kill them. But Violet and Dash had to stay behind to stay safe, so that way she could sneak in. Luckily enough, she gave them mats to conceal their identity, and while she was sneaking in, she realized something. There was a rocket ready to launch. While it launched, Violet and Dash managed to escape, but the next morning, they were spotted. They were trying to escape, while meanwhile, Mirage helped Mr. Incredible escape. She realized that Syndrome has been a very bad person. The only thing that what she would do is try to help Mr. Incredible escape, and she did. She also told him that his family is still alive, but Elastigirl just sucker punched it. But luckily enough, Mr. Incredible managed to forgive Elastigirl with one kiss. But they heard what happened to the kids, so they managed to run off to find them. While meanwhile, Violet told Dash to do one thing that Dash would have to do. Had to do the 100-mile dash. Luckily enough, he was running so fast that he even ran on water. And he managed to escape those guys that he managed to come back with his sister and ran back. And luckily enough, all things with the gyro ball thing and they were rolling on, family were reunited. And they even fought like a family. Well, too bad because Syndrome caught him. And meanwhile, he revealed his plan that he killed a real superhero so that way he could be a superhero, and then when he's older he can sell his stuff so that everyone could be a superhero. But his plans got foiled, and luckily enough, they escaped. They were trying to find a way back, but luckily enough, thanks to Mirage, they just got an idea. Here comes my favorite scene from The Incredibles. While Lucius was getting ready, he saw the robot was attacking, so he was trying to get his suit, but the scene was absolutely funny. Where is my super suit? That quote had to be the funniest quote I ever heard. Okay, so meanwhile, the robot was attacking and Syndrome was trying to become the hero that everyone thinks, but it didn't go so well because the robots turned back on it and started attacking Syndrome. Luckily enough, the brave hero was running away, but he got knocked off. And luckily enough, the real heroes were coming in. They managed to arrive on time, but Mr. Incredible insisted in his family to stay, but they said no. So they decided one thing. They deemed that to take down the same robot, and they also used the same technique to defeat it, and therefore they managed to claim their victory. Everyone was safe, and they were all happy enough that they saved the day like all superheroes are supposed to do. Well, meanwhile, Elastigirl was wondering what happened to Jack Jack. So they were doing a phone call, but all they heard were recorded voice calls that what happened from their babysitter, that it was crazy. And the last message was he thought that she got a replacement, but they found out the replacement was Syndrome. He was trying to take Jack Jack and then turn him against his own, but he didn't realize Jack Jack has powers. It was so crazy that he started beating up Syndrome, and Syndrome was next planning to get them back, but sadly, his cake got caught into the jet turbine and the turbine exploded. Now he's dead. Yep. Elastigirl managed to save Jack Jack from falling, and they were all safe, except the house they just moved in just got totally wrecked. But at least they're safe. And then 3 months ago, Violet was asked by her crush Tony Reisinger for a date. Find out what will happen soon. And then Dash was trying his best to not use his speed for sports that he finally got his chance to do. And he managed to get a trophy for doing a great job. But then catastrophe happened, and it was the Incredibles' time to save the day once again. Yeah. What's going on with the Incredibles after the attack of the Underminer? I guess I'll have to watch Incredibles 2 to find out. But don't worry, The Incredibles 2 is not the next movie review I'm going to be doing next Saturday, which is on Leap Day. And you'll be finding out what's on Leap Day very soon. Also, of course, if you want to see more videos, all you gotta do is subscribe, like this video, comment down below how you think, share this with your friends, and follow me at BrickDragonHero.com. And also, of course, who's your favorite character in Incredibles? Mine is Violet, because I like the power of turning invisible. And also, of course, question of the day. What superpower would you want? Me? I would have fire elements or elemental powers. You know what I mean, right? Okay, so thanks for watching. Have a brick day or have an incredible day.